Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Monday Mindset, first day of June. We're getting ready to get into the summer. Exciting time. It's hard to believe that we're this far into the new year. It seems like things are just moving so quickly right now. And I think this training really comes at a time when, this is kind of that time of the year where, number one, real estate starts to get busy for us. But then we're also taking time with our families and going on vacations and things of that nature. So finding that balance. And I think being able to plug in to these Monday mindsets and stay connected is definitely one of those things that helps with the balance and help finding, kind of staying, focused on work, but also being able to enjoy life and smell the roses, so to speak. So happy to have you here today. We got a great training set up for you today. Let me just share the screen here. And this training for me really kind of came over the weekend for me, just in regards to the leadership aspect of it. A lot of times, the things that I'm working on for myself, in many instances, become the training that you guys get to hear. And so leadership is, a big component to where my growth is right now. But I think one of the things that we have to realize is that as we become adults, as we, start to hit, 30, 40, middle age, we all are positioning ourselves to be leaders, whether it's a leader in our family, leader in our church, leaders within our business, or if you're working a job, leaders within that job. So it's just a natural progression, and there's some that never really take the position of leadership, but there are many that, without even knowing it, are kind of placed into that, very much into that position. So I know we have a former principal on here right now with Rob, who's very familiar with understanding leadership. And where it was, as a principal, and now moving into real estate. So we're going to talk about leadership from a standpoint of, I think a lot of times we put titles on leadership. We think from an authority standpoint in regards to leadership, but I want to take it down to something that I really took from Gary Vee in regards to, leadership starts with just caring about other people. They may not even be people that are that you're leading. It could just be people that are in your immediate surroundings. But when you start to care about others, and particularly those people that are following you, something amazing happens through that process. So we're going to kind of go through some of those things. First and foremost, I think we have to understand that a lot of times, we hear this term, a born leader. Well, no one is born a leader. I want to, you tell me a 9-month-old that you are following, that you're influenced by. Now, you can love a 9-month-old, you can think they're the cutest thing in the world, but they're not leading you, because, leaders are not necessarily born. And I think that that's one of those things where it's almost like it becomes an excuse, but because we feel like when you say that term, a born leader, you're literally saying that you're either given this gift at birth or you're not. Yeah, you can be born with blue eyes. You can be born with a birthmark on your left arm, or whatever the case may be. But leadership is not something that is given to you at birth. Leadership is something that is learned. It's developed. It's earned, and it starts for you right now once you make that decision to become a leader. And what I've kind of learned for myself is, as a leader, and when you are learning leadership, leaders are the best students. Leaders are the ones that are constantly in mentorship and as a mentee where they're learning from someone above them. So you never stop. You don't become a leader and all of a sudden everything that you say is how it's done. No, you're constantly learning from others. And I can tell you that I have multiple mentors. I have, mentors from the business perspective. I've had mentors from a financial perspective. I have mentors from a spiritual standpoint. When I was on a speaking tours, I had a speaking coach. I had a mentor in that space. So I'm constantly seeking out mentorship to become better at any of those different areas that ultimately is going to help me to be a better and more effective leader. And then leadership is something that is developed. It's something that continues to grow. You don't get to a certain point and they put a title on you, and maybe that title is CEO, and feel like, okay, I have arrived. There's no more there's nowhere else for me to grow. I am at the pinnacle. No, you're going to be always growing. Our CEO of EXP, Leo Pareja, never had this conversation with him about it, but I'm sure that if you asked him, is he still in development? His answer would be absolutely yes. I think we all are still continuously in development. So leaders are constantly being developed. And then leadership is earned. This is going to be something that's earned, and it's going to be, it's not about respect. It's going to be more about trust. It's going to be more about the genuineness that comes from you, that it exudes to others, and how you make them feel. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a minute. And then the bottom line is, if leadership is an aspiration, a direction of what you want for your life, for your business, whatever it is that you're doing, it starts for you right now. So learning, developing, and earning, all of those things are starting for you right in this moment. So again, who are the people that make the best leaders? I think people follow those that we hear the term, people do business with those they know, like, and trust. It's the same thing with leadership. It's going to be the know, like, and trust. And I think trust is a big component of that. And a part of gaining trust is having genuine empathy and caring for people. Taking the time to know and understand what their goals are in life, and being able to attach to those goals. That's one of the things that some of the agents will tell you that have gone through my Icon 365 training, or if I've personally have sponsored you into EXP, one of the first things that we do when we sit down is I want to know what your goals and your dreams are for your real estate business, because we're going to write them down, and you're going to have a copy, I'm going to have a copy. And the reason for that is because I want to attach to your dreams and your goals, and I want to be able to know where it is that you're trying to get to, because the beauty of this business that we're in, when people come into it, each and every one of us have a different goal, dream, hopes of what we desire. And it's important, number one, that you understand what that is. And then whoever is working with you, mentoring you, coaching you, it's important that they understand what that is. And I can tell you, no one, other than I was in a network marketing company, and that's where I learned this whole process. But no one in my police career, no one in my real estate career had ever sat down with me and asked me, what are your dreams for your real estate business? What are your goals that you want to, they told me to write down my goals, but they didn't take interest in knowing what those goals were so that they could help me achieve them. And that's really kind of the first step to caring about other people. And then, and it's not just something that you go through the process and do the steps of it. It's having a sincere interest and caring about what people are wanting. And that's We're going to talk about superpowers here in a minute, but I think that that's a key component. And when you're in that place, you're going to gain trust of people through that process. And through caring and trust, you start to build influence with others. And through the three of those, caring, trust, influence, that's what leads into great leadership. That's what helps leaders to be able to develop others. And so again, it's the earning component, and none of that has to do with respect. I mean, they say that leaders or you have to earn respect from people. Well, I think it's more important that you earn the trust and the influence by starting at that foundational piece of caring for others. So caring is leadership's superpower. And what I mean by that is, once again, it's the foundational piece of everything in regards to leadership. I think it's the foundational piece to trust. I think it's the foundational piece to gaining influence and having people that are willing to listen to the things that you're sharing with them. It's going to help to build that loyalty with people when they know that you care, about what they're going through, and you care about being able to help them to reach their goals. That is going to build a sense of loyalty. It's also going to create the connection. It's going to have that bond that you're looking for. And for me, that's one of the most important components to leadership, is being able to connect. And then unlocking someone's potential. This is what gets me excited, especially when I'm talking to someone that they may not, if I see potential in them that they don't see in themselves, and I can share with them what I see. It's kind of cool to see someone's, their head raised a little bit higher and their chin is up, and realizing, even though, it's challenging today and I may be down, I'm not out, and I got someone here that believes in me, that believes in my ability to do the things that I'm trying to do, and helping people to unlock that potential. It first starts with giving them confidence, in themselves, and developing, that confidence. And one of my favorite quotes, this is kind of an abbreviated version of it, but Maya Angelou said that people will forget the things that you said. People will forget the things that you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And I fully, wholeheartedly believe that, because I can tell you, perfect example. Think and Grow Rich is the first personal development book I ever read. I picked it up at the age of 40. That was at 2008. The person that wrote that book died in 1970, Napoleon Hill. So 38 years after his passing, he had a massive impact on me, so much to the point that it is still my number one personal development book. I've read it 6 times. The reason that I call it my number one, because it's the one that started everything for me in regards to my journey through growth and personal development and succeeding in business. And so with that being the case, there was a feeling that was created through that book. It wasn't what he said. It wasn't reading about what he did. It was the feeling that was created in that book that gave me confidence in myself. And this was through a book of someone that was no longer here. Imagine the things that you say, the things that you do, but more importantly, the things that you do that create a feeling for other people that are face to face with you, that you guys are experiencing life together in real time, the impact that you can have on someone. So again, that is something that resonates with me, and it's one of those things that, and if any of you have had like a one-on-one conversation with me, especially if we get deep into the weeds in regards to what's going on in your life, what's going on in your business, that it's not about the things that I'm saying, but it's more importantly, if I can help to change some thinking to get you feeling a certain way about yourself. And I'm not doing it for the purposes of saying I want them to walk away from this feeling different so they remember me for that. No, I'm doing it because I know that that person needs that. But those are the things that they're going to remember. They may forget what the conversation was, but they're going to remember that, man, he lifted me up in that moment. And I want you to think about that for yourself when you're running across, whether it's people, it doesn't even have to be business related, just friends, just family members. That if you can lift someone up and you can bring something to their spirit, that the next time they see you, they're looking forward to seeing you because they know the feeling that you left behind with them previously. That's a powerful component. That is a superpower. So again, understanding that aspect of leadership and developing from that particular perspective makes all the difference in the world. All right. And then great leaders develop great people. This is one of those things that I think is really important as we continue to grow in our business. I always like to use the example of when I was a team member, the very first time that I was on a team. I'd been in real estate for 16 years, just a solo agent. I joined a team and I had an amazing leader on that with that team. So amazing that the trouble that he had is he was so good at developing agents into top producing agents, is that once he developed these agents into top producing agents, well, guess what? The next step for them was to become a team lead because they saw what he was doing. He created something that was, really helped to create growth in their business. And now they want to, it's time for them to expand. And I think, two parts to that. Number one, I remember him talking about how the challenges of being a team leader, that you have there. So it was not necessarily that he was trying to dim my light or keep me from becoming a team leader, but I could also understand that, you don't grow agents to be productive agents just so they leave and you have this revolving door of continuously always developing agents. That can become tedious over time when you're always kind of in a development mode of new agents and taking them to this next level. But I also recognize that there were these agents that left and started their own team and maybe did not have the success that he had. And the attributes that were missing was the genuineness of caring for the agents that were with him, which this team leader that I worked with, there was a genuine caring of those agents that were working with him. And so it brings me kind of to the candle principle of understanding. And I've done this at a training that I was speaking, a live training. We all had those long stem candles and we turned out the lights in the room and I lit the first candle. And in that moment, my candle was the only light in that room. But then I lit the candle of the light next to me. Guess what? My candle stayed lit. Even though I lit this candle over here, I lit the candle on this side of me, my candle still stayed lit. It didn't dim any more, or any less because of the fact that I lit other candles. And then those other candles started to light candles throughout the course of the room. And over time, when every candle was lit, there's about 30 people in the room, when every candle was lit, there was more light in the room and we were no longer in darkness. We had the candles lit because it started with someone being brave enough to say, you know what, even though I have all this knowledge, I have all this experience, I'm going to share it with others and I'm going to bring them to the level that I'm at and they're going to share it with others. And everyone in the room was in the light. So understanding that, our leadership works the same way. We have to, be in a place where we're looking to pay success forward to others as we continue to develop people. And the ripple effect. This is one of the things that this is kind of a core piece for me of understanding that, especially with the company that we're with, a business model that gives us the opportunity to introduce people to the EXP business model, and they get the opportunity to introduce people, and they get to introduce people, and so forth. And the impact that you're not only having on that agent, but you are ultimately going to be having on their families because of a business model that has been created to help agents become successful very quickly, to help them to build and create wealth in their business. It creates a ripple effect. So one stone can create a ripple throughout an entire lake. And that it's just having that one conversation that shifts someone's doubt, in their purpose. It's that, having that one act of encouragement that gets someone to take the step that they were afraid to take prior to that. And it's just being that one mentor that can impact someone so heavily that they go out and they impact others. You impact one, and they go out and impact 10, and then those 10 go out and impact 10. That's 100. But it all started with your one stone, that created the ripple. So understanding that, again, in your real estate business, when you come to a place where leadership is what you're looking to grow, it no longer is about you, and it's everything to do with those people that are around you, that again, that have that trust in you, that and you're showing the caring about them. Greatness is influence. I love talking about greatness. Some of you know I wrote a book called Ignite Your Greatness, and I really take a deep dive into greatness and what it is. And if you've been around me long enough, you know that I believe that greatness is not something that you achieve. Greatness is not a destination that you're reaching for. It's not a belt that you hold up to say you've arrived at greatness. Greatness is something that is inside of you, which means it's inside of each and every one of us. And it's just a matter of revealing. It's a matter of pulling back the layers and revealing it to the world. And when I was writing the book, one of the quotes around greatness was Kobe Bryant, and it really kind of stuck with me. And it said, he was asked on a podcast, what is greatness to you? And he said, greatness is your ability to inspire the next person. And what I understood from that was, again, it's not, the talents and the accomplishments that I have achieved, but it's taking the influence that I have and being able to see other people and help them to reach their goals. And even though he was an amazing basketball player, I guarantee you there are people right now, even though he's passed, there are people right now that watch his videos that are inspired to become great artists, or to become a great chef, or to become a great police officer, whatever the case may be, by the message that he shared in regards to his basketball journey. So it's the ability to inspire and impact others. Success is a personal thing, and that's the thing that we go out and achieve. We achieve success. But see, that greatness component, that is something, like I said, with the candle, is transferable. And it's so transferable because, see, for the candle to be lit, there has to be wax on the wick. If the wick did not have wax, it would be very difficult in many cases to light that candle and keep it lit. So the thing about it is, the wicks is already there. The wicks is the greatness. All right. And in some cases, we're just waiting for someone to come along that lights that wick and starts the fire inside of us. So again, and again, I look at it from a standpoint of, I'm looking for someone that needs to have that greatness lit. I want to be the spark for someone to help them to take it to the next level in their life. Legacy. is leadership's final exam. This is what, again, I think, and I'm gonna challenge each of you to, if you haven't thought about your legacy, if you haven't thought about when it's all said and done, and your time here is done, what is the legacy that you leave behind? What is the story that people will tell about you? What is the impact that you will have had on other people? So you have to think about it. And again, it doesn't have to do necessarily with real estate. It could be something totally outside of that. Real estate may be a vehicle from a financial standpoint that helps you to do the bigger things in life that you're trying to do. So I can tell you, real estate is a vehicle for me from a standpoint of the one thing that, my legacy that I want it to be tied to, and I'm going to kind of share something with you here in just a minute, but I want it to be tied to helping other people achieve their dreams. Now, if it starts in real estate and I'm helping people do that, but it ends where I'm doing it on, just in dreams in general, then that's the goal. That's where I want to go. And then the people that you're developing and the impact that they're having, and then what survives when you're gone. I'm going to take these last couple of minutes and I want to just kind of share. Some of you have heard this story of me, but this is where my vision lies. When I think about legacy, this is how I look at it. I think about 100 years from now, there's a grandfather sitting in the library, and his grandson comes into the room and sits on his lap. And while he's sitting on his lap, he says, "Grandpa, the man above the fireplace, who is that?" And the grandfather says, "Well, that is my great grandfather." And it's because of the sacrifice that he made. It's because of the impact that he had on the world. It's because of the success that he achieved that we are able to live the way that we live today, and that we are able to do the things in life that we've been able to do today because it started with him. And the little boy looks at his grandfather, and he says, "Okay, he understands. He has it. He appreciates that." But then he notices at the bottom there's this giant, as you can see in the picture, there's this giant photo of the man, and then there's this little small wallet-sized photo down on the mantle. And the grandson says, "Well, Grandpa, who is that man in that picture?" And he says, "Well, that is the man that helped your grandfather achieve those things. It helped your grandfather to do those things that has put us in the position that we are in life. And that man, that's Barry Overton." See, that's the vision that I have. It goes beyond me being the big picture above the fireplace to being just a footnote. And honestly, I don't even have to be on the mantle. But if I can leave this world knowing that I've impacted hundreds and thousands of households, of creating a legacy that lives beyond my lifetime, that's what the goal is. That's what my dream lies in regards to what I'm doing, from a daily standpoint of being able to impact others. So that's what gets me up in the morning and gives me drive to create success, because I'm no longer thinking about myself. I'm no longer thinking about my kids. I'm no longer thinking just about my fireplace, mantle from 100 years from now. I'm thinking about the lives of others that I can impact. So again, I want you to kind of take away from a leadership standpoint, whose life will be better because you lived. It's going to start, with the caring. And then as you start caring and you understand what people want, you understand, how you need to be able to show up and help them, you start to develop, those people. And then as you develop those people, not only are you creating your legacy, you're helping them to create their legacy. And by helping them to create their legacy, that's what's going to impact generations to come. And so having that type of impact, again, that's what, really, Napoleon Hill, 38 years after his passing, he had an impact on me. So again, I know that this can happen because it's happened to me. So I want you to start looking at, if you are in a place of leadership, or if you're in a place of moving into leadership, it starts with the caring, but it can end with a legacy that far outlives, your time on this earth. I hope you guys have enjoyed this training today. This is one of my favorite to do. Like I said, it was one of those places that I was in this weekend of reminding myself of my own desires and the tasks that I'm looking to get better in right now. The development is still occurring, and this training just came on me through that process. So I wanted to be able to share it with you guys today. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it is a perfect start to your Monday and the rest of your week. And you guys have a great rest of your week, and we look forward to talking to you soon. All right, take care.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.